Well, hello. Here we are, Denver, Colorado. Today we're talking about a lot of things as it relates to real estate. And thank you for coming if you're here. And if you're watching us in the future, thanks for taking the time there. A lot going on lately in the news and in our local market. A lot going on in the economy, and just that's what you're going to find that this quick webinar is going to be a little bit of a flyover, and we're not going to dig too deep, but we're going to go through some basically, if you can see the slide, it's what the heck is going on with the real estate market, exclamation point. And we're hearing that a lot everywhere you turn. So again, thanks for tuning into this, and we'll do our best to lay out some of these key indicators that we're watching and keeping tuned in with. So anyway, let's jump right in. And today I have Miss Zen. You can't see her, but you can hear her. Feel free to introduce yourself, Zen. We'll give you a round of applause for keeping us on track and doing everything you do.
Hello, everyone.
There she
I'm
is.
Zen.
She is a miracle worker. She keeps the gears turning, and really, I am just not that tech savvy when it comes to these Zoom calls. And we even had some clients now tuned in that are helping us out. So thanks for that. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Mike, I have a goal. And I'm going to flip through this slide as we move along here. Hopefully you guys can see that. My goal is today in this webinar is to do my best to explain. My intention is to explain to the best of my ability what's going on with the current market, both regionally and across the country. And there's three questions that we're really getting asked a lot. And so you see that the name of this is, Hey Bob, how's the market? That was something fun that came up in a team meeting that we've been talking about. If you go back on YouTube, actually don't go there, but you can see videos of me years ago, and I'm using a flip chart, and it's really old school. So this is actually the launch of a new way to do these market updates. We like to tune into these and start launching these when we are in a period of uncertainty. Seems to be that way in the talk of the news. If you're watching the news, do yourself a favor and don't do that when it comes to real estate. If that was the only thing you were hearing and watching, you'd feel like the sky was falling. So anyway, that's why we're launching this one right away to help hopefully put, match some data to what we're seeing. So let's jump right in. The three things we want to talk about, the questions we want to answer is, where have we been in the real estate market the last year, 2 years, decade? Where the heck have we been? I mean, it's been crazy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at some charts. We're going to look at some data from FHFA, Federal Housing Authority, also Dr. Young, which is the economist. Very talented gentleman hired by the National Association of Realtors. And Dr. Young gets to have all of the fun analyzing what he's seeing and forecasting and predicting. We're also going to look at, where are we now? What factors are we looking at? Indicators, leading indicators, lagging indicators. Where are we currently? No one seems to know. If anyone on this call, I'm dating myself here, but if you remember the magic 8-ball we had in the 80s and the early, I don't know if they had them in the 90s, and you shake that thing up and you get a different answer, that's about what you're hearing at backyard barbecues and dinner parties. It's about what it feels like, doesn't it? And then three, we're going to talk about, where are we going? Market forecast. And that, geez, I wish I had a crystal ball. I'd be in Hawaii right now. But we're going to do the best we can, looking at some leading indicators to predict where we think the market might be going based on that data. So let's move right in. What are we talking about today? Residential real estate. Residential real estate. as it's defined here, any property used for residential purposes. Some of you in here may say, duh, Bob, we know what residential real estate is. This is for some folks that maybe are watching this or watch it in the future and just getting a good primer for what we consider to be residential. Today, we're talking about the residential real estate market. I'm not going into commercial. We might save that for a later webinar. But so just today, we're talking about residential. All righty. Examples include single-family homes, condos, co-ops, duplexes, townhomes, multifamily residences, and maybe that little shed they sell out in front of Lowe's. The prices of real estate lately, who knows? Wire that thing up. Maybe that's all right. Moving right along. I joke with my wife. I think I missed my calling as a comedian. I'm really bad at it, but I think I have some funny jokes every so often. What are the key factors that affect the real estate market? So before we jump in, we're just going to do just a quick primer on a few things that do affect what we call the real estate market. A lot of data there, a lot of economic data. We're not going to tune into that. We can pull people in. It's a lot smarter than I am to help mess with all those numbers. But for now, we're going to talk about things that we track and keep an eye on. Affordability. Affordability is huge. Interest rates, mortgage interest rates. And you notice that a lot of these are playing in the same band together or on the same team. Inventory levels and absorption rates. Most folks have heard about these four things we're talking about today. Absorption rates, that's something a lot of folks maybe you know about, maybe you don't. Supply and demand, huge, right? Supply and demand. The law of supply and demand dictates equilibrium price of property. Low supply of housing inventory may drive prices up, which is what tends to result in bidding wars. So, I mean, if you look at the housing inventory and the supply over the last 8 to 10 years, wow, that's a huge reason why affordability has skyrocketed, right? We're right into our first slide. All right, I know all the analyticals in the room are smiling and happy right now. And you guys don't, all the stuff we talk about today, if you're visiting this or if you'd like this information, we have the full reports. We could send to you after the fact. If you want to dig deep, feel free to dig into those. The first one we're gonna look at is this some historical perspective. We could throw stats and numbers at you all day long on the current market and what we're seeing and looking for the lags and the leading indicators. But without some type of perspective, we need a historical perspective, and that's what we're going to talk about first. And I have a few notes here today to keep me on track. Historically, just the last 10 years or so, since the market recovered from the last that big subprime mortgage crisis, the story has been good luck to find a house. You're going to get outbid. 1,000 offers, 100,000 over, 200,000 over. Everyone's hearing this, and they know it's the case, and that's what we have been seeing locally and in many of the states here. Just let me back up 1 minute. Whoop. Oh, I went too far. Oh no, my slide share just went chaotic on me. Hold on a sec, guys. Hold on. Go back. Hell, I just love this kind of stuff. All right. I want to look at this one. So this comes from Freddie Mac. They've been tracking a lot of this stuff since the 70s. Affordability, we're going to talk about the HPI also in this portion of the webinar, the historic house price index. But for now, let's look at these interest rates. I mean, this is just incredible. Still historically low, right? I don't know who was living in 81, but look at that peak. Holy moly. Are we looking at the same thing? Isn't this crazy? So we're talking about these little jumps now. Obviously a different economy back then, but that's just insane. What is that? Almost 20% mortgage interest rate on a 30-year? Wow. My poor parents, right? Your poor parents. Or for you. If you lived during that time and you owned a home. All right, here we go. Absorption rate. This is another factor that we look at. Absorption rate is basically, it's a calculation without getting into the weeds here today and running some examples. We could do that in a different seminar. Just know that it's how we track inventory and at the rate at which it's absorbed into the market. So it's about how fast the market's moving. And you can kind of make some educated guesses there with a few simple calculations in any neighborhood or across a wide range, maybe the front range of neighborhoods. And using the absorption rates, you can basically factor in how long it'll take to sell a house or how long houses are taking to sell. So something that a lot of folks are unaware of is this absorption rate, but from National Association of Realtors and the research that great organization has done for a lot of us is we know that a balanced market based on absorption is about 6 months inventory. Wow, have we ever seen that in the last 10 years? And we keep having these outlier markets that you go from kind of like an awesome market, pre-07, where things just skyrocketed up and it's real estate's concerned. And then you had a crash. And then from the crash, you kind of had a J curve again. So we really haven't seen a truly balanced market in many years. Many years. Currently, I think we're here in the metro area. We're at about 2 months. Well, it varies obviously per neighborhood and zip code, but about 2 months inventory. So just so you know, if you're watching this, we're not even in a perfectly balanced market yet. Are we headed there? Maybe. Dun, dun, dun. Right. So the house HPI, the house price index. I'm going to play a quick video. Let's see if I can get this thing to play. If the sound doesn't come through, no worries. There's a lot of data here. They've been tracking this report since the 70s. They used to release them once a year, once a quarter. Now they're every month. This is the most recent HPI that came from FHFA. If you're curious what that is and you're watching this, you can read the definition on how they've created this index and over the years and how it works. But let's tune quickly. I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to play this video. And I don't hear any volume. Well, that's okay. You're going to get the link in the email. Something to take note of. If I know some of you, the guy in this video has a bow tie.
Hi, I'm Will Dorner, the supervisory economist at the Federal Housing
Will
Finance
Dorner.
Agency.
He's great. He's a lot better than the old guy they were using about 6 years ago. Let's move on. Here's a link to the full report. And what's cool about this link is you can actually pull up your little town anywhere in the United States and kind of see how your little neighborhood is ranking as compared to other metro areas. So that's fun, very helpful. It's fun to play with, love it. Still on affordability. We're talking back, let's go back to affordability. Here's another chart. And wow, if you're watching this and you like visuals, I mean, COVID hit, right? We were at the end of 2019, sailing in what was becoming a balanced market, very similar to what we're seeing now. And check our time. And a lot of us were very happy about that because the balanced market is a good market, but we did see things start to soften and what seemed to be like a normal market, normal's relative, but a balanced market on the horizon. Then this little thing happened. Some of you might remember it. It was called COVID-19, which actually hit in 2020. And it was pretty crazy. I mean, we won't go there, but the world got weird for a minute. Still a little weird. And then the real estate market just skyrocketed. Not many folks knew what was going to happen there. So This chart is a great chart to review and keep things into perspective. And it also portrays housing affordability in today's current market. And if you bought a home, geez, during that time, look, you're up 17.7%. It's a great investment. Here's another chart from the HPI report, seasonally adjusted. Another great historical, something to get historical perspective visually. This goes all the way back, looks like 1991. I'm looking sideways. And you can see, what's nice about this one is you can see where 07 happened. There's a great visual there. It shows the dip. And then it just shows that J swing up. Another great visual, just to show you where we are in perspective. I mean, look at where we were in 07. Look where we are today. I mean, just incredible. Get on to the next chart. And then this is just, if you focus in from peak to peak meaning the peak of the last housing ramp up in 07 to today. I see a 76.8% number there, and that looks great. That looks great. Moving right along. This is another great chart based on affordability. Here's the bad news. Historically, houses aren't that affordable right now. When you tune all the other factors into it, especially if you're considering current inflation rates and all the other good stuff that's going on. A good friend of mine sent this chart over, and I thought we should use it. It's great. Great visual. So historically, though, interest rates are still pretty low already. Inventory levels, let's look at those. I think we're doing okay on time. Here's another great chart. Inventory of new and existing single-family homes for sale. We're still low. I don't know if we'll ever meet the, this is back to supply and demand. I don't know if we're ever going to really fulfill the supply that we need. Yeah, look at this visual. That's just fantastic. In some ways, for some folks, not so much. Moving right along. Another chart as it relates to inventory and supply. So you can see where the peak supply was in the last 20, what is that? Is that 2000? The last 22 years, you could see where we peaked in the housing market bubble in 07. And we still haven't caught up. It's been a while. So. All right, fun part. Let's talk about current market conditions. Moving on from that historical perspective. You guys can take a sip of your coffee now. Current market conditions. We're going to switch a little bit into more of a local environment. And we're in a little bit, and this is not just locally, but we're in a little bit of a deceleration. Seems to be the hit word we're using. If I were to explain what the market feels like, it would be like going 200 miles an hour. I don't know if you've ever gone on a road trip and no one's around. It's maybe pretty late at night. You're on one of those highways. It doesn't have a speed limit, but it kind of does, but it doesn't. I love those. That's when you put the pedal to the metal and you just have fun, right? As long as your kids aren't in the car. And sometimes you can go pretty fast and no one's around. 200 miles an hour, that's about what the market has been. That's been the feel of the market for about the last decade or so. I'd say 2013, 2014 is really when we hit that highway. The feeling now is just, and you probably have experienced this, when you're going that fast and then you slow down from going 200 to about 125 or rather 75 miles an hour, it feels slow. I mean, it feels like, God, it feels like someone put the brakes on. It feels like you're going 35. Change those numbers around. Maybe you're going 75 and then you slow down to 25. You get where I'm going with that. That's about what the feeling feels like. And you're still going the speed limit. And that's where we are. We're still actually over the speed limit as far as the real estate market's concerned. So no worries there, but we have decelerated. These little charts, love them. Our local title company, Land Title, gets these over to us every month. We're going to look at list price to close price. And I'm going to speed up as we go through these. Call me, obviously, if you want to go in further detail and look into your neighborhood or your house. What's my house worth? All those fun conversations. Here's a huge indicator we look at. What are houses selling at as it relates to the price they're listed at? For many years, we're well above. As of today, we're about, we're at 99.5% close price to list price. Down 3 to 5%. I'm assuming by the time the new data comes out next month, we're going to see a little bit different picture. And I think it's going to continue to go down just a little bit, just from the inventory I know that I'm servicing here on the Front Range. So let's go to the next one. Come on. Technical glitch again. What's going on today? All righty.
It's me.
Can you hear me? Oh, I thought I heard something there. Active listings. Another interesting chart. Inventory's up. Supply. There's more supply. That's great. New listings down. So even though, and that's interesting, right? Even though supply's up, fewer people going into the market. Pending sales down 20.2%. Oh my gosh, wow. Pending sales are down. Who would have guessed that? Mortgage interest rates go up. I think that affects those pending sales. And then we have this last chart is your average price per square foot. We're still up 6.4%. So something that I have, it's a weird thing to consider, but even though we're talking about deceleration and we're seeing some new data and new market conditions, we're still up year over year as far as house price per square foot and average sold price of single family homes. We're still up. So nothing to worry about there. Average days in the market. Days in the MLS, we're up. Wow. Now this one, look out for 63% up. So houses are taking longer to sell. All right. We're done with all that fun stuff. Now let's answer that last question. Where are we going? And Zen, thanks for making this cool slide. We've got Captain Jack Sparrow. Hopefully I don't get any copyright infringement crap on this. Choose your captain wisely. And that's talking, if you're going into the ocean, into the market, markets are like the ocean. It's always changing. There's storms that come and go. Just make sure you're picking the right captain to help you. Hopefully it's Captain Jack Sparrow or Honey Badger Bob, your favorite Front Range realtor. Shameless plug there. Okay. This slide is, I would say, it's the light at the end of the tunnel if you are having some negative thoughts about the real estate market. What this chart represents, if you're just listening to this, basically all the equity folks have since 2000. So you go back 22 years, almost 23 years, and look at that. That's why when you hear folks and they say, "Oh my gosh, this is like 2007 all over again." Well, it's not really. It's not really at all. And the red line, that represents a barrier between home equity and what people owe on their houses. We're not going to see a wave of foreclosures with that much equity ever. So that's the good news. And then here's the forecast. It comes from Dr. Yun, economist that we mentioned from the National Association of Realtors. Not bad, right? Not bad. And he has a lot of data and tools to analyze that. So by the end of the year, 11%. Next year, single digit growth will be 2%. 2%'s all right with me. We've had a huge bull run the last decade plus. So again, if you're watching this and you want more information on your house, call me. You know where to find me, or you can use this fun QR code and just register. Mainly you guys, if you're watching this, this too shall pass. There's a calm in the storm. I know everything seems crazy. If you're watching the news, everyone's picking on the real estate market. Our real estate industry had been kind of the pro star quarterback of the economy in the last 10 years. And unfortunately, with the rates going up, it will affect that. So I'm going to open up this last little bit here to some Q&A for anyone that is still here or has a few questions. We could get these, or you could call me obviously after the meeting. So if you watch this or you're listening to it later, thanks again for taking the time to tune in. These are important things, conversations, but hopefully we can have a little bit of fun with you and drop your questions or just reach on out. We're going to start that now. So whoever's there, throw them at us. I'll do my best off the record. Did we lose everybody?
We're still here.
Okay. I'm looking. I see some questions. When should I look for a fourplex? Great question. Now. Anytime there's blood in the water, people are fearful. I hate to say, like I said, off the record, but anytime there's a period of uncertainty, if you're confident in your, if you're confident and you have a strategic plan, investment plan, obviously talk to your financial advisor on that aspect too, if you have one. But yeah, real estate's a great investment. After looking through all those charts, I mean, it's kind of speak for itself, but I know it's a short answer to a long question, but let's go and I guess where you look would be the next obvious question. Let's see, what else do we have on the slide about where the market is headed? Can you explain that one a little more to us? Yes, let's go back. Oops, I went the wrong way. Okay, I stopped. Can you guys still see me? Wait a second.
Yes, we can see you, Bob. The
All right,
slide just went missing.
back up. I don't know what happened there. I broke it. I'm good at that. All right, on this one, forecast.
Yeah, that's correct. If you could just explain, I mean, I see 11% up. Does that mean good for buyers? Does that mean bad for buyers?
Great question. I think where they're headed is that by the time the data comes in for the rest of the year, this is taken into account that first bull run we had. The first part of this year was just insane, right? It was like one of the best ever, Q1, Q2, and then summer hit. I think it's going to factor some of that in, but I think it's going to be averaged out, and that by the end of the year, if you look in the 2023 forecast, we're from 11% all the way down to 2%, which we had seen. What was last year? 17. We're up 17.7% in 1 year, year over year, from 2021 till today. I don't, they have 16.9 here, but I think that the most recent data shows 17.7. So is it good for buyers? I'd say, yeah, if you take into the account, you can get a lot of properties are going under asking right now. Back to that, there's a little bit of, I hate to use this analogy, blood in the water, because it sounds horrible, but there are people who, you know, they're spooked or they just want to get out of it before the market gets worse. If a seller was watching this and they see that 2% forecast, they might say, oh my gosh, hurry, let's do it now. And they might be more willing to accept a lower offer. So hopefully that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, that helps us quite a bit. So
But it is, you know, it is other than the mortgage interest rates, it's a great time to be buying. A lot of people, market's moving right now. A lot of buyers are buying. And the reason why is as long as you plan to stay in that home if it's your personal home, maybe even an investment too, but if you're going to hold it for, and I know we have to go here where I think we might get cut off in about a minute, but I'll call you guys back here in a little bit to further go on further. You can always refi, if rates go down. That's great, right? So if you plan to be in that home for more than a year or 2 years or 3 years, it's fine. I mean, refi later. And there's some specialized loan products now that also have adjustable rates to help you. Can get a low rate, but then it ramps up. Yeah, we could talk further about that. Well, thanks you guys for coming today. Sorry to cut short the Q&A. This was fun, and I look forward to seeing you at our next fun event. You guys know I'm not an analytical. I love it, but and Bob and you guys and Mike, thanks for make sure I got all the questions answered. Cool. We'll talk to you guys next time, and thanks for tuning in. We're going to do these monthly, so we're going to also do a home seller seminar, home buyer seminar in person next month. So look out for that. You guys, thanks for visiting this little webinar, and hope to see you soon.